We are having a good time today. Plugging in the coffee tea. It looks like I have an unstable internet connection, so I'm going to try to switch to, bear with me. Okay, looks like I think I got a more stable connection, and hopefully that will be strong for us as we continue to move forward. This is Coffee Tea, You and Me, Coffee Tea, You and Me. Oh my God, what a wonderful program we have available for all of you entrepreneurs, business leaders, small women and minority-owned business people. We try to dedicate everything that we can do to you. I am Coach Powell. This is Coach Powell Training Development. This is Coffee Tea, You and Me. This is the program that we've been doing now for more than 20 years, helping entrepreneurs and business leaders. Every Friday around about the 3 o'clock hour, we try to create some great content and have some wonderful discussions. And that's what we want to do today, like every other day. We want to have a great discussion today about things that affect your business, things that you have to be concerned about. And if you've been paying attention to what we've been doing over the last couple of weeks, we've been talking about planning and strategy. We've been talking about creating the planning that you have to create to move mountains in your business and in your life. And you can go back and watch that previous series. It was all about the Vision Quest 90 planning process and how you can use that planning process to begin to uncover the things that you need to uncover and create the realities that you want to create in your life and in your business. And I hope that you enjoyed that series. I've been getting tremendous feedback from people who have had a chance to participate. We started that series probably, I would say, in early October and pushed it all the way up and through the last couple of recent weeks. And now we're going to begin a new series. In this new series, I have to say, I'm super excited for a couple of reasons. And one of the reasons I'm super excited about this new series is we're talking about execution. In the last series, we spoke a lot about what it takes to get started, what it takes to think through the systems, what it takes to plan, what it takes to work through your goals and accomplish and get your mission written down and document it well, put your vision together, make sure all of your connections and everything that you were working with worked correctly. It was a beautiful series. But this series, to me, is where it all counts. This is where it all comes together. This is where we are helping entrepreneurs and business leaders start to figure out how to move out of planning and into execution. Now, if you're anything like me, you never really stop planning, right? You're already always thinking about, how you can improve your plan. So I want you to realize that just because we created a plan, it's not a document that's supposed to be stale. It's supposed to sit there. Yes, you may have created a plan. You may have presented your plan. You may have gotten your funding. You may have gotten the support that you need for all of your employees or advisory council, business members, whatever you need to do. You may have that useful plan that you can use to update your website and, help people understand exactly who you are and what you're all about. And all of it's working the way it's supposed to work. Great. But now it's execution time. It's time to begin the process of achieving. It's time to begin that process of performing what you put down in your plan. So your plan helps you set expectations. But now you got to live up to those expectations. You've got to perform to and through those expectations. In fact, if you really, really are excited about what you're doing, and we're going to talk about that a lot today, you are going to exceed expectations by creating unheard of achievement in terms of the pace that you achieve, what you're achieving, the quality of what you're achieving. And it's all because not only did you have a great plan, you have great strategy in terms of execution. So planning is what you do to get yourself ready to perform a brilliant strategy, right? I can't say that enough because I want people to understand that, when it comes to execution, this is where the rubber meets the road. This is how it gets done. I have a good friend of mine who I'll always credit, and she used to call herself the queen of getting shit done. We have to be good at getting things done as individuals, as team leaders, as members of organizations. We have to get things done. That is how we communicate to the universe and each other that we are relevant, that we are special, that we have something to add to the forward flow of human history. And it's so important that we work on this in a very strategic way. And we're going to talk about everything over the next few weeks. We're going to talk about everything there is to talk about when it comes to execution. We're going to be talking about that make work and matter. I'm going to start off. I've actually my favorite quotes. I up with sort of a overview. What we're going to be doing, white paper, and we're going to talk about execution, the flawless techniques that the masterful have understood for over the years. We're going to talk about the 4 secret sauce ingredients to business and professional relationships. We're going to talk about thinking, planning, and going forward. Those are 3 separate ideas, 3 separate papers, 3 separate concepts. We're all going to come together to really, really uncover everything that execution is all about, everything that engagement and participation and achievement is all about over the next several weeks. This might take us 2-3 months to get through because there's a lot of information. But along the way, if anyone is interested in getting my latest white paper, and I'm going to do this throughout the series, right? I'm not going to post the paper because I'm going to use a lot of information from the paper to share the content and discussion with you guys. But if you're interested in the Coach Powell series on execution, I'll have it available for me. But here's what you need to do for me. You need to provide me feedback. And if you see scrolling across your screen right now, is an opportunity for you to do just that. In fact, I'm going to share that, so I'll make sure I get that up there. That's my banner, right? So everything that you're going to see, my text messages, my email messages, my contact information, all is scrolling across that screen. So if you have some feedback for me that you want to share for the show, things that I need to be thinking about, things that I'm talking about, things that you agree with, questions that you may have, input that you may have, if you can give me real feedback, I'm going to send you that white paper for free. And so I'm going to ask you to pay attention to each and every episode, whether you are watching it live or experiencing it as a recording, your opportunity to give me feedback. You can DM me that feedback on LinkedIn, on Facebook, on YouTube. You can email me that feedback. You can text message me that feedback. But as long as you give me the feedback. Now, I'm not looking for feedback like I like the show, thumbs up. No, dig in. Give me some qualitative feedback on how you're experiencing the show, how you're experiencing the information, and I will send it to you. I will give you the requirements that you need to be required to get it from me, and I will send you the link to the latest edition to that white paper, which I'll be inputting and redoing as we go through the series. If you have stories that you think might be relevant to explaining the ideas and the concepts that you would like to share, tell me you got a story to share. I'm going to send you an opportunity again to give me the feedback on how this is relevant to you, how it's special to you, what it means to you. And as long as you give me the feedback, either positive or negative, and I don't care what the feedback is. As long as you give me the feedback, I'm going to send you that white paper. And that's what this is going to be about. Now, when I send you the white paper, obviously, I'm going to get your email address, right? It does not mean I'm going to bombard you with emails and so on and so forth. In fact, I will not. I'll make that promise to you right now. I will not. I will send you what I need to send you, and I won't talk to you about anything other than that. So you won't have to worry about me, emailing you to death and, putting you on all kinds of email blasts. I'm not going to do that. That's not something I think is valuable. It's not something that I want to do to people who I want to actively engage with. I will invite you to join me on LinkedIn if you haven't already done so, and use that as a mechanism to give me feedback. That is a mechanism to share ideas with me. In fact, I'm going to post my LinkedIn information in the chat right now. And so nobody can have any excuses of why they can't, connect to Coach Powell, and you'll see it. But make sure when you send me the connection, don't just send me your regular boring LinkedIn connection. Actually tell me you heard about me on Coffee, Tea, You and Me, and you like to connect with me. That will get my attention a lot more than a general average connect, because I'm running up to the limit of how many people I can accept on LinkedIn. All right. Today, super important homework to do today. Not only join me on LinkedIn if you haven't already, but definitely check out our Leverage Up conference. The Leverage Up conference is coming up on July, at the end of July, and it's going to be a super exciting conference for this quarter. This particular conference, we're going to still be talking about, some of the greatest and most important topics that are relevant today. I'm pretty sure we're going to talk about the economic impact of what's happening in other countries and how that's affecting us. What's going on right now with this great fog coming down from Canada on the wildfires and all that kind of stuff, and it's affecting the East Coast of the United States all the way down here to the Washington metropolitan area where I am. That's having an economic impact. And we're going to talk about, some of the things, the greater macro things that have economic impacts on our small businesses when they close schools or buildings or federal buildings, or even Broadway got closed down because of this fog in the city, right? These have economic impact to our small businesses. We're going to talk about all how of some of the things that, when it comes to take advantage for your small business. Why I don't have a great internet connection. I don't know why we're having issues with the internet connection. And again, I've tried several different iterations. I even upgraded my internet, and I think this is boiling down to my computer and its ability to stay connected to our internet. And I'm going to figure that out at some point. I apologize to everybody. I realize that internet connection is spotty, and I've been working with it, and I've been trying to work with it for years. And now I'm just going to scrap this computer. This next week, I'm getting a brand new computer and see where we go from there. All right. Like I said earlier, if you get the white paper, that'd be great. If you wanted to communicate with us and contact us through the Leverage Up Conference, that'd be also super special. If you want to sponsor the Leverage Up Conference, please do that with me, because that allows me to empower other small businesses in amazing ways. For instance, we're going to be working with the Brothers of Phi Beta Sigma, one of my fraternity. We're going to be working with the local chapter to expose new entrepreneurial ideas to minorities here in Northern Virginia, in Fairfax County, Arlington County, and we're going to do that through the conference. So if you support the conference, then you're supporting that effort of helping other entrepreneurs really learn more about what they can do and how the macroeconomic issues that are affecting the county can affect them, and how they can take advantage and benefit from some of the things the county has to offer, some of the things that the other nonprofit and organizations throughout the county have to offer to help entrepreneurs and small businesses secure greater and greater opportunities. And we're going to be pushing that program out to elderly members of our community, as well as to junior members of our communities through our children. Hopefully we'll be able to get an MOU going with a couple of organizations that are dedicated to helping advance children and entrepreneurship for children. Even if they're going to college, it doesn't mean you don't have to go to college, or we don't want to promote education. We do want to promote education, but we do want to promote education and entrepreneurship at the same time. I think these are things that we can't afford to keep our children away from as our economy becomes more and more precarious in terms of what we're going to have available for ourselves and for our children. So that's going to happen. So please support that Leverage Up Conference. Buy a ticket, share it with your friends, get as many people involved and connected with it as possible. Hopefully that's going to be a brilliant opportunity. Today's topic, again, don't keep us a secret. We're going to get into execution, but today we're going to talk about something very significant in education, in terms of execution, and that's going to be the spiritual connection that you should have when it comes to executing your plan. Whatever your plan is, whatever your plan needs to be, there needs to be a deep understanding of those spiritual connections, and we're going to talk about that in our next session over the break and as we come back. So make sure that you check that out. Listen to this particular branding moment, and we're going to get right back to it. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Coffee Tea, You and Me. Coffee Tea, You and Me is a program that I've been doing for the last 20 years to help entrepreneurs, business leaders, small women-owned and minorities really get a leg up and find new opportunities and talk about and discuss the things that are important for us. If you have any questions, any thoughts, any comments, please blow up the chat. Please put it in the chat. I want to make sure that your business gets recognized, and there's no business that we don't want to recognize here at Coffee Tea, You and Me. So if you have an entrepreneurial venture or an idea, a thought, put that stuff in the chat. Put your links to your websites in your chat, any promotional ideas or advice, put that in the chat. If you have a question about anything we're talking about or anything we might talk about in the future, put that in the chat. If you want to discuss something, put it in the chat. The more feedback you give us, the more you engage with us, the better we can make this program for you. Today's program was brought to you by some key people that I love. And I have to say, without the support and the help of these three guys, I don't know if I'd be able to do the things that I'm able to do. So I'm so thankful for them. And I want you to enjoy the opportunity to work with them as well. You know, one of my good friend, Adolphus, Minor, his commercial realtor, he's working with Century 21 Commercial, New Millennium here in Northern Virginia, and he's got one of the most expansive and wonderful careers in commercial real estate in terms of leasing, in terms of investing in properties and finding new properties. He's been at this for over 15 years. He's brilliant at it, and he's a big supporter and a client of mine. And so I really love working with Adolphus. If you get a chance to work with Adolphus T. Minor Jr., you can Google him. You can look him up. He's going to find him on LinkedIn. He's there. He's doing amazing things. The second person I want to bring to the table and bring into your awareness is Mr. Eddie Tutors that I've had for years. And he's a big sponsor and partner of ours, especially the Leverage Up Conference. If you get a chance to work with Eddie Tube, and you are going to do a great opportunity for yourself and your business. He's all about small women and minority-owned business and advancing their issues and help them with their financial issues on lending specifically to businesses that have 25 and up employees. Super important. If you're a professional in any iteration and you need to just find out how to do business better with the right kinds of banker, I always suggest that you contact Eddie Tubin. If you need to get a contact with him, you can reach out to me through LinkedIn, and I will connect you to Eddie. Eddie's just an amazing, talented individual, super guy here in Northern Virginia and in the Washington metropolitan area, right? The next person I want to bring to the table, and definitely not the least, is my good friend, colleague, and associate. I can't think of anything better to say about a person other than Mr. Shoemate himself, of Shoemate Engineering, Darren Shoemate. And I go way back. We have been working with entrepreneurs and people together here in the Washington metropolitan area for years. We sat on the board for the Small Business Commission for the County of Fairfax for many years, and we've enjoyed a great working relationship and a great opportunity. Again, if you are having any engineering issues, especially when it comes to data center and commercial building, you want to talk to somebody who's a specialist at these kinds of things, you got to talk to Darren Shoemate of Shoemate Engineering. And I want to make sure that you have an opportunity, again, to reach out to him. So find me, again, on LinkedIn. I will connect you to Darren if that's something that you're interested in. Today's topic for Coffee Tea, You and Me, again, is the spiritual connection, the thing that you need to do to keep yourself in the right mindset and framework when it comes to your emotional and spiritual connection to your execution and what we've discovered. And I want you to, really understand that I'm a big believer in not just the Bible as a spiritual document, but I'm a big believer in the Bible as a document of what humans were thinking about and how humans were thinking when it comes to creating opportunity, legislation, leadership, guidance for people. And so I actually use the Bible a lot in how I present and think about things. And if that offends you, I'm sorry. It's just a tool that I found to be tremendously useful in trying to explain difficult concepts. And I'm a believer that in all of humanity, we have to consider the physical, the emotional, the spiritual, and the mental aspects of all that we're doing. And so when it comes to execution, I thought, well, what are the spiritual thoughts and ideas that humans have shared throughout history in the Bible? I found 14 rules of performance. Now I'm going to list all 14 of these rules for you, but I'm not going to speak to all 14 of these rules. I'm only going to speak to maybe 3 or 4 of them so that you can understand where we're coming from. But the Bible has been a great wealth and a source of information when it comes to wisdom about the deeply spiritual and emotional connections to human accomplishment. This has been the case for centuries. And if you want to really think about the surprisingly insightful concepts that the Bible has shared, I want you to pay attention to the next thing. There's 14 of them. All right. Number one, the Bible shares with us that it's important to invite feedback and testing often. There's nothing that you're doing that you shouldn't be inviting feedback for and that you shouldn't be testing as you move forward. I think that's a good rule of thumb. In your execution, you have to think through, how am I going to put space in there for that? Number two, the Bible shares that you need to keep your eye on the prize. You need to be focused on the thing that is important, the thing that's relevant, the thing that matters. You need to get all your energies and everything marshaled so that you can keep and maintain that focus. Number three, you should align your priorities correctly. If you're doing an execution, your strategy, a tactic, whatever you're trying to do, and you have an improper alignment or improper balance in how you're going to move the work forward, then you're going to find that you're going to slow down your progress, maybe even retard or stop your progress towards forward movement. And you don't want that. You want that continue to move forward. So you need that alignment. Number four, you need to be willing to be that bright light in the industry, that bright light that brings not just a high level of performance, but a high level of ethic and moral concept. Talk about that. We're gonna get deep into that one. Number five, you want to get synced with a higher purpose. The purpose has got to be bigger than just I want our desire something. It has to be bigger than that. It has to be, I want to expose the opportunity to the universe. I want to make the world a better place. I want to think deeper and higher about what I'm doing. And I want to work to a level that maybe even I'm gonna need to be dependent on someone else in order to make it happen, right? And other people. Because if you can't do that, if you can't get to that higher purpose, you can't get to that higher connection to people, right? Number six, develop and refine your style. Always, always, always look to get better, look to be more, look to create more opportunities for yourself and for others. Always try to get a little better than you were yesterday. Number seven, your things. So I hope we got that. It's super, super important. Understand nature of your gut, really know it really well. Goodbye. You have to be able to back to the aligning of the priorities position. You can't align your priorities if you can't get rid of the dead weight. Whatever the dead weight are in your execution strategy, you have to be able to get rid of it. Number nine, stay true to the game. Then this is like, really, really making the commitment that you need to make and making sure you and your people are making the commitments that you need to make. Number 10, tap into your real power. Again, back to that spiritual nature. If you really tap into the right spiritual energy in the right way, you're not going to run out. You're not going to tap out. You're not going to burn out. You're not going to have any of those things, because you're going to be very protective of how you generate more and more and more and more and more power towards whatever it is your endeavor needs to be. Number 11, love out loud and on purpose. I'm gonna save that one. I'm gonna get to a deep explanation of what that means in a little bit later. Number 12, stand tall, finish strong. Number 13, give and demonstrate your collective best. And number 14, let transparency shine. All of this is in the passages and the parables and the phrases of the Bible. And if you want the deep dive into any of this stuff, you're going to want to get that white paper. So let's get in deep to at least 4 of the ideas. I think I got enough time to really get through that and do some good work. If I have to come back again next week and just kind of finish this up, I will, because I think it's super, super, super important. The first thing I want you to pay attention is to, what was I saying? Number 4, which is be the bright light in the industry. Don't be afraid to be the bright light. Don't be afraid to let your light shine. Don't be afraid to take all the gifts and all the talents that you've been able to understand and let them go where they need to go. The book of Matthew says, in some way, let your light shine before others so that they may see your good works, give glory to your who is if you dim or capacity, if you allow the something of the divine in others, divine nature, you or with the world, right? This is how you get to explore and develop your providential destiny and the providential destiny of others. That's a word that I want to share with you, right? I just created that kind of phrase. Think about that. If you actually believe that you are called to, born to, develop for a reason, shouldn't you let your light shine? Shouldn't you let people know that this is your gift to the world? This is your gift to society. What is missing when you take the time to develop, create a purpose, that's a destination, inspire. If you give permission, who could do the same, that it helps you get to not just the top of your game, but beyond the top of your game. So people have nothing but awe and wonder at what you bring to the table. This is what I mean by being the industry bright light. I'm not interested in just you winning awards. Of course, I want you to win awards, but I want you to win awards so consistently that people are like, oh my God, I don't know how I'm going to ever keep up. I don't know how I can ever just touch on the brilliance of what this person is offering. So, I really want you to focus on making your light shine and keeping your light shining, right? The next thing I want you to focus on, one of the other concepts of the 14 spiritual concepts that I were able to dig out, the Bible says this. In the book of Psalms, it says, I cry out to my God who's most high, to God who fulfills his purpose for that sense of think up higher part of, if you again back as trajectory you become not just doing the work that's out there that needs to get done, because the work has to get done, but being fulfilled, right? Being satisfied, knowing that what you're doing is pleasing to the universe, right? You're righteous in your activities and in your thoughts, and how your thoughts are shared and then developed and moved forward with people. Right? The more your team is coordinated and matched to the higher purpose, the more connected you become with your mutual destinies. It's not just your destiny, but it's the destiny of others, and bringing together and helping them stack opportunity after opportunity on top of opportunity, and being able to see greater and greater and greater reward, emotionally and spiritually, for the work that you are doing, that the work that you get to do, the work that you're thankful and grateful for the opportunity to engage in. And that comes from some of the other things I'm going to share with you, right? You have to know how to trust your instincts. You have to know how to really, really enjoy the fruits of your insights and your wisdom in the thing, in the industry, in the process, in the projects, in the programs that you want to engage in. Because if you're not coming from that sense of strength, that sense of ever increasing engagement and understanding and wisdom, then I think that you're going to wonder more often if you're doing the right thing, or if you are engaging in the right processes. And it's going to feel a little bit difficult. It's going to feel a little bit tense, because when you start to get into your instinct, you start to get into, people say hindsight is 20/20. People say your instinct, your insight is like 50/50. It's not guaranteed. There's a that all on here is built on the qualification, the understand what that insight is, and you need to be able to employ it in a way, and deploy it in a way that's going to create opportunities for yourself and them. There's also, an ability that you have to be able to speak to it, right? Everyone who has ability and authority needs the opportunity to share it audibly with others, so that, and as a leader, if you can promote to hearing and listening to the contribution that you and your team members can make to one another and to the mission of whatever you're doing, then that's going to be super, super important thing to do. That means you have to really regularly schedule opportunities for listening to new, better ways of doing things, new ideas and concepts that have come to the table as you are executing whatever strategy that you think you're executing and move. You have to take the space and time to as you start to share experiences back and forth, to figure out, what's working in this department, what's better in this division, how's it working for these people. And you have to be able to make the adjustments that you need to make in order to get back to efficiency, back to effectiveness, back to productivity, and consistently, get back in sync with the higher mission, with a new and renewed sense of vigor and attitude. So super, super important. And that's the leader's responsibility, to create that space. Not just to provide vision and guidance, but create the space for, again, feedback and opportunities for people to share what they're experiencing and what's happening with them in their iteration of this whole thing, so that you can develop team cohesion and collaboration so much better. I write and talk a lot about collaboration with my friends at the round table. And it's so again, this is so super important, because where people feel engaged and they feel they feel like their work is appreciated, then there's room for individual expression, and there's room for team cohesion, and there's room for more and more and more appreciation. Is so super, super, super important. So thing one, like I said earlier, is to be the industry light. Thing two is to get synced up with a higher purpose. Thing three is to trust your instincts, right? And the last thing I want to share with you, and the most important thing I want to share with you when it comes to all the 14 ideas, is this next idea: love out loud and on purpose. The book of Philippians shares with us, for it is God who works in you both to will and to work for his good pleasure. It is God that works in you both to will and to work for his good pleasure. You need to learn the lesson, that spiritual lesson that is shared with you in everything that you do. Everything that you do needs to be for the reason of love. And it needs to be for the benefit of love. And you need to be not shy about loving out loud and on purpose. The universe smiles on teams that work together in a very, very unique and special way. Teams that work together get to call upon a higher level of empowerment and a higher level of engagement like I've never seen, right? It only happens when people come together and they bring their talents together and they're sharing and they're willing to contribute their gifts, their connections, their faith with a reward, or with a group and a team, for the sake and the benefit of just making a contribution, not because they want a personal reward, not because they're getting paid, not because they're getting accolades and so on and so forth. Of course, those things are important, but that can't be the reason. It's the reason is to understand the willingness and the contribution that they can bring forth authentically from themselves to a thing, to a direction. When people get to share authentically who they are, what they're all about, where they're coming from, where they're going to others, it is the most magnificent feeling that I've ever been able to develop or encourage. And in fact, I developed a program to help people stay focused on doing just that. The program is called the WRAP approach. The WRAP approach reminds us that it's important in every iteration to give people the respect, affection, and praise that they are deserving of. They are most deserving of. They're deserving of it because they are here. They're here to engage with you. They're here to talk to you. They're here to share space with you. They're here in any iteration. There's something to find about an individual that's about the business of the business that you're engaged in, to respect, to have affection for, and to praise. And that becomes your habit, to respect, have affection for, and praise others. It becomes your habit. Then it becomes, and not just because you want something in return, right? Or you're expected to do it, because that's who you want to become. A person who's respectful, who honors other people, who shares their love and connection and commitment with other people. That is the kind of person that if you want to become, and you start to work through the WRAP approach, then that's going to be something that's going to be useful to help ignite everything that you want to find in your life, in your business. Everything is it's going to make you happy. It's going to help you be fulfilled. It's going to help you have that sense of destiny and connection to that destiny. You're going to feel, and hear my words on this one, you're going to feel the expanse and the enlargement and of your capacity and your territory. You're going to feel the culpable power of love working through you and in you as you move to achieve greatness with other people and other things. You're going to see it. You're going to feel it. You're going to have it. And the energy that you're going to be able to get from that, you're just not going to be able to keep a lid on it. You're not going to be able to contain it yourself. Once you get started down this path of finding that authentic reason, the gifts, the talents that you have, and figure out ways to share them with other people in an amazing way, and figure out ways to show the respect, the love, the kindness of others for their gifts and their talents, I think you're gonna live a wonderful life, and I know you're gonna live a wonderful life, and you're gonna have a great reward in that you get to make the contribution first. That's going to be your first reward, the ability to authentically contribute, right? Then you're going to see how the universe responds to your contributions. The universe is going to respond to your contribution in ways that you can't imagine. Zig Ziglar says, if you give it out in slices, it'll come back to you in loaves. And he's so true. He's so right. I found that to be so true in my life, in my business, and I hope that it's true and remains true for you. Okay, we talked about a lot today, right? We talked a lot today here in Coffee Tea, You and Me, and we've talked about, and we're going to break it down one last time. We talked about the 14 rules of performance, and we've keyed out and pulled of all those rules the 4 that I think are the most useful and meaningful when it comes to developing your spiritual connection to your execution process and your execution strategy. And rule number 1, be that bright light. Be the industry bright light. Don't be afraid to let your light shine. Number 2, trust, understand, evaluate, get to an instinctual level of behavior, an instinctual level of engagement and work, right? You gotta make it. It's gotta be so wired into who you are that you're able to speak to it. These are my gifts. This is my talent. This is my destiny, right? Trust that instinct, and develop it, right? Number 3, don't be afraid to love out loud. Don't be afraid to give your all to the thing that you think you've been called to do and be about on purpose. You know what? And the last one, I didn't even mention this. So I got to go back in, and I'm glad I'm going back through the list. Is you need to give and demonstrate your collective best. It's not good enough to just do the thing that you do, right? You have to be willing to bring others together. And if you, again, do the RAP approach correctly, right, you're going to see that your genuine appreciation and affection for someone else who's doing something wonderful, it's going to attract them to you. It's going to attract that same affection back in your direction. And you then have to then take a hold of that and move through helping other people develop their collective best. The book of Romans says, I appeal to you, therefore, brothers, by the mercies of God, to present your bodies as a living sacrifice, holy and acceptable to God, which is your spiritual worship. It is when you're doing the work that you're doing, when you're doing the work and you're helping people also do the work that they need to do. It is deeply spiritual. It's highly emotional. It is so charged with passion, and you have no choice but to elevate performance. You have no choice but to move things to a higher level. Everybody on your team needs to be all in and fully committed to demonstrating the most ethical and honorable behavior, right? When they can do that, when they're obligated, when they feel so connected to being honorable, playing by the rules, the rules, the best rules, right? And coming from a position of conviction about those things, there's nothing greater. Your inherent code of ethics should be your deepest held moral values and traditions. You can use these tools to onboard new members. You can use these tools to recruit new people. You can use these tools to hold each other accountable. But you have to be willing to identify these values, identify these practices, identify these connections, and then use them exceptionally well. Okay, that's it, guys. It's the end of our program. We've been at this for a while. If you have any questions, any level of engagement, anything that you want to share, anything you want to do, let us know in the chat. We'd be more than happy to help you out. If you have some feedback that you want to share about the program, please do so. DM me, send it up in the chat, whatever, and I will give you a copy of our latest program. Now, next week, we're going to get even deeper into effectiveness and what it takes. And the topic next week is going to be effectiveness, efficiency, and productivity. We're going to get into meat and potatoes in real world, times, how this works and the things that you need to be aware of when it comes to building effectiveness, efficiency, and productivity into your process. God bless you. I really hope that you are super successful in all that you do. This is Coach Powell. I'm signing out. I'm out of here. And you all have a wonderful day.